Hello, my friends. All right. So, I'm really excited to be here. I have a voice. This is reassuring. Also, I'm not coughing constantly, so you don't have to suffer through me having a voice, but not being able to use it. I have a couple things I want to cover today. And as usual, anyone that brings questions will go through those. So, it is just me solo today. Hannah will not be able to make it. So, you just get to hang out with me today. I don't even have kombucha today, guys. I have flavored water. I have flavored water. I'm a little opinionated about my flavored waters now. So maybe it's kind of like having kombucha. We'll see. All right. So anyone that's joined, if you want to say hi to me, I would super appreciate it so that I don't feel so lonely without my co-host here. And I'll know that you are here to hang out with me. Excuse me. I will probably have to cough some. I was expecting Hannah to be here and to totally Lori, hi. I was expecting her to take care of some of the talking for me. Hi Kim. Happy to see you here. But since Hannah's not here, I'll just have to mute occasionally and cough. Alrighty. So, structure for today, mostly I'm going to answer any questions you guys have. That's what I love to do on Wednesdays. Great time for me to answer like whatever's come up and is relevant for you guys. Sorry, keep silencing my phone over here. Recommend any other experts and possibly get them to do a video for us if there's someone that hasn't done one yet. That would be really fun. So if you want to drop any questions you have in the chat, go ahead and do that. I have a couple things that I know I was going to address today. I was hoping I could kind of go back and forth with Hannah on it and get some different opinions. But if we can get her to come in another day, then we'll do those questions again, I think, because Hannah and I have very different like perspectives on things. So they would be fun questions to do with Hannah. So I'll go through some of those while you guys drop questions in the chat, and then I'll pretty much hang out here as long as we have questions and we have stuff to go over, up to an hour. So excited to see you guys. I see that there's some lurkers that haven't said hi. So if you're here and you want to say hi, feel free to, but you don't have to. Okay, drop some questions. I'm gonna pull up the questions I had and I'll go through those. And then if we want to deep dive into anyone's site, we can always do that because that is a lot of fun for me as a very techie person. First up, I am going to pull up these questions I had. So I'm going into UpCoach because that's where like everything is central for me. I've been making sure I put everything into UpCoach for this course of Feature Fest. If we have anyone attending, so this is just like a public live event on our Facebook page. So some attendees here might not be part of Feature Fest, but if you are not part of Feature Fest and you want to get any of that information, there is information on the Creator Theme website. And we would be happy to have you join it with us. So I'm opening up that website and also the questions, because did I write questions for this that I want to answer? Yes. Did I pull them up prior to jumping on this call? No, that would have been way too much planning ahead. And this is far more casual and fun. Yes, Kim, I definitely would love to do that. So Kim, heads up. You can drop any specific questions you have, your URL, anything that you want to in the chat, and we'll go through that. If you want me to log in and work on anything in your site, I will do that live. I will screen share and everything. All I'll need from you is a login link and then like an admin account. So if you create an admin account for hello@oncecouple.com, then I'll set that up right here on this call and log into your site, and we can kind of mess with stuff, and you can tell me whether you want me to save things or not. That's one of my favorite things to do on these live events. So go ahead and put anything you want in here and share a login if you want, and I will get that in my email and we can do that. Okay, so first of all, Feature Fest for I think most of the people that are here, and I say that just because the people who have said hi are Kim and Lori, are part of it, but I did want to give a shout out to the people that have done sessions for us already. So if you aren't aware of what happened, I basically planned this 2-week like live event, and then I lost my voice and I couldn't do any of the sessions. And I called in favors from like anyone and everyone. And then we got like these really cool expert sessions, and I'm kind of like way more excited about them than I even was about what we were going to do, because now I'm like releasing the course separately. But we've had sessions released from Danielle List from Business Ease. She's done stuff on legal. Hers was about 20 minutes. We released one yesterday, I think, from Charles Smith of WP Ops, which I love because I hadn't seen Charles on video before. And then he like did a deep dive for like an hour and 20 minutes. But it wasn't like there were like 5 different topics that he covered each for like 20 minutes, and I almost split them into separate sessions because I was like, "This is a gold mine." So Charles was really fun to watch. If you know Charles and you're on WP Op, I really recommend his for that reason. We did Big Scoots as well. We have one from them that's already been released. That one was from Zach, and he kind of covered like what Big Scoots does, which I thought was a cool behind the scenes, because they do some things that even I didn't know about, and I'm pretty in touch with what like is going on at Big Scoots. So I found that one really interesting. That was a longer one as well. That was about 40 minutes. And I liked it because it was a back and forth with Hannah. And I just really like Hannah on video. I think she's like a really good like co-host to do things with. She keeps everything light and like asks good questions. Um, so we had those. And then we released 2 today, which was we did one with Casey Markey. He specifically talked about, I feel like he had like his very normal vibe of like make sure that you're writing for your audience, but he kind of brought in the aspect of AI to that and like address that. So I thought his was good. It also was only 20 minutes, a lot like Danielle. So it was like very easy to like watch and take some key points, and then like you can go research more of those on your own if you're interested in it. And then Matt did an interview with Hannah. If you've watched that one, you saw that Hannah like dipped out for the last 10 minutes, where her computer just like, you see her trying to plug in her computer and then it just dying anyway. So that was kind of a little aside. She has some good banter with Matt, but they talk about email, and specifically they go into some things that Kit does. And honestly, Hannah's like now overhauling our whole email structure, which was kind of fun for me because it's some stuff that I was like, oh, I maybe would want to do this. And now Hannah's like all in on it. So I found that one also to be really good. So I've loved them so far. And I think we have 5 more that are coming. I only have one that I haven't got a confirmation that he's going to send it in today. But I have 4 confirmations of additional ones that are coming in. So I'm really excited to release those. Okay, so Kim, the email that you can share admin access with is going to be hello@oncecouple.com. You could also pretty much any of our brands together, you just hello at and then pick one of our brand names. So you could do hello@creatortheme.com, hello@smallplugins.com, hello@oncecouple.com. Those are our main 3 that like all go together. We have actually a couple more domains, but we are trying not to create more brands at this point. So any of those will get to me. Hello at Once Coupled, hello at Creator Theme, or hello at Small Plugins. All of those will go to the same place. Okay, Lori, I have a question on patterns. I saved and then find that I need to modify them. I've already used them in previous posts. My question is, if I update that pattern, does it update the post that is already live? I know my patterns aren't synced. Lori, you knew exactly what I was going to ask. Okay, so great question. If your pattern is not synced, then nothing that you change in the like saved pattern will update on your previous posts. And we could go into your site and just like show that on basically pages that aren't visible to your audience if we wanted to. But essentially, a pattern is just like once it gets inserted, it's all on its own. It's separate completely unless it's a synced pattern. But you already know this one isn't a synced pattern. So no, if you go in and you make changes, it's not going to change anything on your previous post, which is usually a very good thing. So if you're like updating a heading, you're not going to accidentally change headings on any of your other ones. If you are wanting to update your previous post to have some different like color or something, then you would just need to go into those and manually make those changes. That's a really great place for a VA. Lori, I can't remember. No, I had someone else email me and they were like, I don't trust a VA. This course is not for me. Lori, I suspect you would also be a little hesitant knowing you. Laura, hi. I think you also would also be a little bit hesitant to have a VA in there, but VAs are like great for block themes because they can go in and like just make changes so easily. And like these little design things. Yeah, Lori, I know. I know you do. I knew you were gonna be like, no, nobody gets access to my site, Lauren. Okay. So let's see. Just checking, Kim. I haven't received WordPress login for you yet, but I'm gonna just pull up your there it is. It just came in. I'm gonna pull up your site and then I will share my screen in a moment. Let me just set up a login so that my password is not shared with everyone. All right, I'm gonna log in. Hello, it's coupled. Sorry if you guys are hearing all my typing today. I always tease Hannah for typing really loud, but today I don't have like a mic on or earplugs in or anything. So today it's probably me that's being noisy. Okay, Kim, let's see. I just changed my password. I am logging in. And then I will share my screen and we can look at some things on your site together. Okay, perfect. And you got me admin access. I love it. Okay, Kim, I am in your site. And let me see. I don't have any questions yet. Do you have specific things that you want me to go through? Like, do you have specific questions for me? Or do you want me to just kind of look through your site and poke around and you can just see what I look at when I'm in a site? I've looked at quite a few people that have implemented baked and branded. So I definitely have some stuff now that is like, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to go check this. So I can do that. Laura, if you have any questions, let me know. We like to dive into your site a lot as well, so I'm happy to do that. Today, we are also looking at diving into Kim's site, so that'll be fun. All right, Kim, while I wait to hear about the questions that you have, I'm going to kind of go over some of the topics that I wanted to touch on, some questions that I thought would be fun to talk about, especially since we've been like having all these sessions. I don't know how many of you guys have watched, but like I have been watching them and editing them and rewatching them and making notes on them so that they will have like chapters and everything. So I'm like super in the weeds with all of these sessions. With that in mind, I thought it'd be really fun to kind of talk about what I would do differently or like what I would do first if I were like building something from scratch. I mean, I don't have the full like food blog experience because I'm very much the development behind it. But as you now know, I have at least 3 brands that I'm working with. So I think if I, especially having listened to some of these other sessions that I've had the chance to get through so far, if I were to share what I would do first if I were rebuilding a branding from like any sort of brand from scratch. And I'm totally biased because I'm doing this right now, but I think it would be to create a product. I was thinking back about how like Once Coupled started and how I even got into food blogging, and it started with products. I don't even think I've shared this with Hannah. The way Once Coupled started before I even had the name Once Coupled was with products. I did it under Lauren Gray Designs, which is like my parent business name. And I was doing pre-made themes. So something similar to what Baked and Branded is, but like, 12 years ago or something, maybe 11, 12 years ago. Yeah, it would totally be 12 years ago. I was doing pre-made themes. And I feel like products give me a really clear like way to connect with people. And I think about them in terms of I watched Matt's session and he's talking about like giving out freebies to people and getting those kind of like engaged people on your list. And I feel like products are like when you, a lot of sites we saw over the years have done like opt-in offers, right? So they've done get my top 10 like dessert recipes or something like that. And it's been a freebie, but it's a product. And I think I would do more of those, and I think that's what I wanna do more of now, is, like I'm thinking like that's all small plugins is, and that's what Creator Theme is. It's products, but like because I have this base product that I'm building, I have the capability to create so many learning opportunities around that. And that's been getting me really excited, having one thing that like everything builds off of. So maybe that's not even product, but I think having that like there's one something I'm trying to accomplish and everything is around that. And I think for me, that's like wanting I've done so much custom, like high value stuff that I want to be able to do more um like something that can help multiple people. Like they don't need me, they're getting some sort of resource that's based on my expertise. And so that's like this train your VA course. That's the theme that is like I've been building themes for 10 years. Here's what I do now. And the plugins, like moving everything out of the theme and having individual little plugins I can push in. So I think building those, but like starting there. I would just start with products. And I love this course piece right here. I love getting to connect with people. This is like, I don't feel like I get to connect with people quite as much as I have through this course, the emails that we've received back, and people showing up here on this live, you guys being here, as I had when we were doing like, here's a plugin and here's a theme. But like teaching a course is like connecting all those dots. I'm loving it. Okay, Kim. So you said some of your questions were trying to get the sections to be not as tall or full width. And so I definitely can look at that. Um, search, screwed up search, tried to fix it. Now it looks odd. So much white space in the header or something. Ooh, okay. I can totally work with that. And then I do see your search bar a little bit. I would change that. And I can show you some different ways we can do that. We've got a question from Lori. I'll come back to that one about two-factor authentication. That is amazing. I did Email Crush for a couple months. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's like 7x. And you haven't even done your evergreen content. Grew from 1,000 to 7,000 on email, and you still need to do evergreen content. Yeah, that's so cool. Okay, you do want some to be full width. Lori, you love these sessions. I know Lori emailed like 3 times and was like, "Is there a live today?" I don't even know. Even today, Lori, you emailed and you were like, "It's on Facebook or it's on YouTube." And I'm like, "I don't even know how you know that. You must have some secret connection to the calendar." Because most people only know it's on one or the other. All right, let me share my screen. Present, share screen. And then I want to share this window. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, so I am logged in here just to show you. We've got the admin bar. I can go into the backend. I have full admin access to Kim's site. And so we're going to use a little bit of the front end and the back end as we usually do to kind of play around with the theme. Okay, I'm just going to look at the homepage right now. I know that we want to change out the header a little bit. You want some less white space up here. We want to change the search a little. And then you wanted to do some more like full width content to break it up. Cool. Okay, I have some ideas there. I was a bad person. Kim, no. Hold, I have to cough. Okay, we don't get to label you as a bad person. Didn't use your editor for 14 hours, pulled my head out of my butt and used it correctly. The editor is weird to get used to because you have to like learn the difference between the site editor and the page editor, and I totally get it. You're good. You won't be the first, you won't be the last to be confused by this. Hopefully, like, but now that you get it, it just like clicks, right? It gets so much easier. And then it's like it becomes about like finding the details. But like the big stuff is so much easier now. I love it. Okay, hold. Let me focus on doing some of this. All right. So, just want to show you how to get here from the front end or the back end. I know Kim, you know this now, but for everyone else, if you're looking to make edits like site wide, you can go to Appearance Editor, and that's going to take you into like the general site editor, and you'll be able to navigate through a whole bunch of stuff. patterns, template parts, pages, page layouts, the styles here. This is your like global styles. All of that you can do by going into Appearance Editor. If you're on an individual page, you can also go into Edit Site, and that will usually take you to the site editor for whatever you're looking at. So just gonna wait for this to open, make sure that it's taking us to that exact page that we want to be on. Okay, so this one is taking me to landing, simple header and footer. That's probably because the homepage is set to this template. If it weren't, I can go here just to open up this sidebar here, and it'll show me all of my templates, which I can look through and kind of, I'll be able to see how they differ. So let me see here. We've got author archives, basic, blank, blog home. This one looks like it's missing a title, so we'll probably come in and change this. Index, this is usually going to be like categories, search, things like that. It also looks like it's missing a title though. So let me see. Let me look. We might come in and change this as well. I'm also seeing pagination here doesn't have like really good contrast, so we could fix that. It's not a big deal. Landing no page title. Simple footer, simple header and footer, simple header. I'm not sure this one is actually simple header anymore. I wonder if we can rename templates. I don't want to look right now. Ooh, WooCommerce specific templates, fun. The 404, more WooCommerce stuff coming soon. Okay, and then like more WooCommerce stuff. Let me check one more. Single entry. So these are like your individual posts. Shop templates, search results. Okay, cool. So what this tells me is just by looking through and seeing everything you have and like kind of just at this point, sorry, Kim, I think it's just that I know templates because I've looked at this so much. I know I want to change out this blog home and I'm going to want to change this index page as well. We'll do that separately because I know you have some goals in mind, but these are things that I think would just need to be fixed overall in order for your site to run really smoothly. Building the homepage from my front marked page in my pages section. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna just click back. So when we went to edit site on your page, that took us into this template because this is the template that's applied to that front page that you have set. So it's not showing, and it is a blank page right now, it's not showing the homepage content, but it does show me the header and footer. So if I want to come in and change the header and footer, this is the like easy way for me to do so. And so I know that you want to decrease some of the spacing here in the header, so we're going to do that. And then we're going to look at these search bars as well to kind of change some of these out. So first and foremost, when I look at the, let me pull it up on the front end. When I look at your homepage, decreasing some of the space in here, we probably need to get a little fancy since you added in the social at the top. And I think that's part of what's pushing it down. So we can remove a little bit of margin, we can remove a little bit of padding. Those are going to be two different ways to add white space, but kind of like rearranging the content would also be a way for us to decrease some of that white space. And I apologize that this is loading a little slow. It might be that the room I'm in doesn't have, I'm not in my usual office. So it might be that the room I'm in doesn't have a great connection. So we'll just kind of wait for this to load the homepage. And in the meantime, let me work in here and see what we have. So I always open up this document overview so I can see this list view. Looks good in terms of like groups here. I use like, I can't function without this. The block editor, just like way too confusing for me without it. All right, so we have social icons. I can see there's not any extra space around them, so that's pretty good. There is quite a bit of space between these. And then we have your header, and we're going to want to go into that as well. But first and foremost, I'm actually going to group these because what adding a group between these is going to allow me to do that I couldn't do otherwise just because these are synced patterns. If you have a synced pattern, you can see there's not any like block settings here, which I normally would have on a group. So by adding these into a group, what I can do is I can decrease the space between them. So I could say I want 0 space. Let me see. I'm trying to show, it's not really actually. So I'm not going to group those. I can see that there's a space between them, but when I grouped them, I expected them to pull closer and they didn't. And I'm not sure why right now. I wonder if I do it and I look at it on the home page. Here, group. And then I want to remove the space between them. I'm going to go ahead and save this, Kim. I can very easily undo it. I just want to see on the homepage if that space is going to disappear or not, since it's not in the editor. It does. Look at that. I know you don't want this. I will fix it. But for whatever reason, it's not happening in the editor. It does at least happen on the front end. So now I've decreased a little bit of that white space. And so I have a little bit less space here, but I need some more at the top. So I'm just going to add a margin top to this. And again, it's not showing up here, which does drive me a little batty. But I have a little more, I have that space here. So let me check this on mobile real quick. There's not enough space on mobile. Ooh, please go away, little guy. Okay, so I need to add a little bit of space here on mobile. Just increase that block spacing, maybe to extra small. Okay, I don't know if you could see it. I can see it. There's a tiny bit more spacing and I feel better about it. All right, so now for the search button. So you deleted the search button. We have two that are here. The reason we have two, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. The reason we have two is because we have one for mobile that's smaller, and then we have a bigger one for desktop. And so you're seeing this button only, which is this one here, which shows on mobile. And then we have a larger one that's going to show on desktop. And so if I make it larger, you can see this larger piece on desktop. In your case, though, because you're linking it to Slickstream, I would only show the button on both mobile and desktop. Like, I wouldn't have those two different variations because you're linking to Slickstream. This input area doesn't do anything. So it's kind of misleading. So because you have a very specific use case, Kim, where you're using that external kind of search thing, I think what I would do is come in here and consolidate. Okay, that makes sense. Great. So let's see what we have. We have these buttons. You know what? Part of the reason that they're like that is because I have the button showing up underneath, which is so you can do that long scroll. So we do need both of them. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this one. So I have two. I'm going to drag this one here and delete the new one that you added. So the benefit of what I just did, we're going to have to make some changes as well, but the benefit of what I just did is I changed it also to be a single button. And I think that's going to look better and be more intuitive for users. And instead of having to go through all the settings to figure out how to make it look like that, I cheated and I stole a button that was already working. But this one is set to be hidden on desktop and tablet. So I need to change that. When I copy pasted this one, I need to change it and hide this one on mobile. So I'm going to save here and then refresh. And then now you can see that this is just a button here, which I do like a lot better. The alignment is a little off. I'm not sure why. We could look at that another time, but I want to get into some of your other questions instead of worrying about that too much. I feel like this already looks pretty good. If I had a recommendation to make, I think I probably would move these. You probably want them on mobile. I think I would maybe move these underneath the header. So you know how, let me go back here. So you're using the simple header and footer landing template, but if you were using the default one, it would have like content that goes underneath. It would have another area under here that would be like global header after. I think I would probably move the social icons into that That way the header feels smaller, and then, like, the social icons can kind of be like a separator bar, especially if you did them in, like, a dark purple and you made the icons white, and that separator would show up really well both on mobile and desktop. So I think that would kind of be my recommendation for that. If we have time, we can go back and do that if you want, but I'm chatty, and I know we have some specific questions to get through. Okay, so then looking at this homepage, I'm gonna close out of this site editor. I'm gonna assume the changes we've made so far are okay, but if you drop in the chat that you don't like anything, I will definitely revert it. I'm gonna close this one, and then we're gonna edit this homepage by clicking on Edit Page. So in this page editor, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to show you how you can add colors to existing sections. So like, let's say this one here, you have reader favorite recipes. It looks like this is set to full width, but it's kind of weird because the content is probably like, let me actually show you. Let me cheat and show you like a really large screen. See, this would be the size of a screen that, like, if someone were looking at your site on like an iMac, they might be looking at something like this. Their TV, really large screens will have it kind of expanded here because it's set to full width. And we probably don't want that. Oh, and there's something weird happening here too. So we're going to fix that. And then we're also going to like give this a background so that the background can be full width even as this content gets skinnier. So here, we'll come back to this section here. First, we're going to look at this one. So row features with background, this grid is set to full width now. So I'm going to remove that and I'm going to set it back to none and save that just so you can see what it looks like again on this like fake wide screen. Now it's thinner, but I know you want to break this content up, and we can still do that without making that interior content like really wide. What we can do is we can take this group and we can give it a background color. Let me see. We're already using that one. So I think I'm going to use this, this tan or this gray for now. We could do like a lighter purple, like a very almost like white or gray, but like purple tinted, I think is what would look really good here. And this, because this parent is set to full width and it has padding on it, it's going to look really good with this. The only thing we have to do is kind of get rid of this white background so that we can't tell that this grid isn't is like separate. So here inside of the grid, I'm just going to remove that white background, and I think this will look good. So let me save this just so you can see it. And now we're able to like break this up. So this is what it looks like normally for me. And so we've got like a little bit of color here. We could do even the darker purple and have white text on it. But like we can have some of those full width sections. What's interesting, or a little bit challenging even maybe, is if you wanted to do, let's see, this one's empty. So let me delete this one. This one right here. So we have handpicked products. And let's say we want this to be full width, but it wasn't ever meant to be full width. So this one had with background, which means I had already styled it to work well with the full width background color. But this one was not. So what do we want to do for this one in order to make it full width? What I'm going to do first is I'm going to put it inside of a group, because that group is going to give me all the options I need that wouldn't be in here. So I use groups pretty liberally. But if I need to make something full width, I always want it to be in a parent group that like controls the background color and the width. So now that I have this group that I didn't have previously, I can set it to full width. And I can't see that anything has happened. I just know it's happened, but at least my content now is still that content width. So that's what this is enabled. If I turned it off, this would now be full width, and it would be that really wide thing that we saw previously. So I'm going to leave this enabled. The group allows me to do that. It allows me to constrain the content inside of it, even while I've set it to full width. And then I could add a background here as well. The only thing now is that if I look at this section, these top selling digital products, it has a background, but like the spacing is off. See how there's not any space above it? And then if I look at it on mobile, it actually looks pretty good on, wait, that's not it. This one, it looks good on mobile. It's just that spacing top and bottom. So what I would do is I would come in here to padding, and then I would add padding here. Most of this theme uses large for top bottom padding, but if you feel like there's too much spacing between everything, go through and just make everything medium instead of large. Just refreshing this. And then it looks like it was always meant to be that way. Here I can see there's this button here, worry not. Just gonna drag and drop that button inside of the group. And now it's part of that same content. So I feel like groups and background colors are so good for adding like visual hierarchy and separating content. So let's save that. So the changes there. Two more things that I wanted to do for you. One, I'm going to change this base color to like a really light purple and just see how that looks. And then two, we're going to go look at those templates that I was like, we should maybe look at the headings on this. So back here, I'm going to go through edit site. I do everything through the front end. I always have to like save and look on the front end regularly. It's the only way that makes sense to me. Even if I have like, I'm on a small screen right now, even if I have my big screen, I still have to preview on the front end. I can't work just from the editor. I do okay, but I'd rather preview everything on the front end and work from there. Oh, I kind of want to move these. Okay, don't let me get distracted, Kim. Don't let me do it. Welcome to styles. Let me close that. Colors, we're going to edit your palette, and I just want to change this color here. So show details, this base alt. Can I make him just a little purple? Like, I want it to be very light. I feel like this is going to be purple. Oh yeah, I can see it here. That's even maybe a little more purple than I wanted. I want it to be gray that's like tinted purple. You can change this later, Kim. If you don't like my style, I will not be offended. Only if Hannah doesn't like my style do I get offended. Yeah, I kind of like this. I would maybe even make it a little more gray, a little less white. But I feel like it adds just like, how would I do that? If I pop it over here, why did it get pink? I want you to be purple still. That is so weird that it keeps changing. Let's see. It's kind of too dark now, huh? All right, well, we'll pull it back up here and then we'll save it. If you don't like it, you can drop in the chat that you hate it. You can also always come into here and click like reset colors. All right, last but not least of things that I think we definitely need to touch on is going to be the templates. So that would be here. When I get over to this template here, two templates that I notice, I see people do this all the time. I think it's like probably going to be the most confusing thing that is likely going to be like what I need to make videos for is editing this index template. So if I go into this template, normally, so this index template controls your category archives, your search results, any new custom post type or anything, they all use this index as like the default. And so what's basically happening right now is if I go into one of your categories, and let me see up here too, what your plain recipe ones look like. It's not going to have a heading on it anymore. And we definitely want it to have an H1. So we want there to be an H1 on every page. And so even if we want to remove that from certain templates, what we would want to do is to come in here and click add template and then make a template for whatever we want the title to like not appear on. Let me see if I can, I'm closing things to see if I can get this to load faster. But for the most part, this index, we want to keep it mostly the way it came. Like you can totally style it, but I wouldn't remove content from this one template. Uh-oh. Okay. I was like, what if I don't have internet at all? What if no one can see me anymore? Waiting for this one. Okay, I don't have this much patience in me. I'm thinking about Hannah and she'd be rage quitting right now. See, guys, I miss having my little co-host. All I can do is talk about Hannah. All right, so I really wanted to show you how if you look at your category page, it probably doesn't have a heading on it, but it doesn't want to cooperate. It doesn't want me to show you that. So what I want to do instead is I want to reset this page to what it was. I'm a little bit worried about doing that. I'm going to copy this group just so if you've done a lot of changes and oh, the group is just got things inside of it. So this should be fine. Okay, but still, I'm going to copy this so that even after I make a change, if we need to revert it, I can. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to click reset, see what happens. I can see we've got a shop banner and shop this old baker, and I just want to, but it looks like those are both empty. Okay, I want to know what I'm doing before I reset this. I'm going to click reset. I'm going to reset to default, clear all customizations. Don't die on me now. Let me close that. Let me give up on that and see if I can just get the editor to work. It's not sure it wants to. Okay, let me refresh and see. Actually, I'm really worried it won't, like that it reset it and it won't reload and I won't be able to fix it. Minor panic. All right. If anyone else can see Kim's site, let me know if I've ruined it. This makes me so sad. Okay, let me talk through it while this is happening, so that we're not all just sitting. Hopefully it'll load and we can fix it or make any changes to it. What I plan on seeing when it resets is that the archive headings, like the archive titles, which is a purple synced template part, reappears above the default loop. And that if any changes have been made to that, we can go into it and we can reset those changes as well. But bringing that back will bring back all of the default titles that we would need for categories, custom post types, search results, anything like that. So that would be the first step. And then anything that might have gotten undone when I clicked reset template, I would just be redoing that, whether it's adding in these synced patterns or if there was some sort of style that got changed, I would remake those changes. I don't expect the styles to change. And since these synced patterns aren't showing anything right now, I really don't think it'll do anything other than bring back the title. But it just does not want to work for me. Let me load something and just like make sure that I exist on the internet right now. Okay, so maybe it's just that Kim's site is mad at me. That's a distinct possibility. Let me see if I can. Something's happening. We're going to see if I can get that to load. In the meantime, Lori, you had a question for me. And I said I'd come back to it. And it's been like 20 minutes because you know how I like to ramble. All right, so random question, but many of us use an alternate login page for our dashboards. Yes. Is there an option to add two-factor authentication? For example, Mediavine just added two-factor to our dashboards, but I don't know if I've seen one for our WordPress dashboard sites. Yes, Lori, there are quite a few plugins. The most common one that I see people use is WordFence. I don't know if that's because they've worked with someone that prefers WordFence. There are quite a few. I had a few clients that used one that I think was called like Tiny Orange. I might be making that up, but there are quite a few, and WordFence is the one I think I set up the most. You can set it up. The biggest thing I would say about two-factor authentication for your WordPress dashboard, even if you're using a different login page. So I know you said that like a lot of people have different login URLs. You can have a different login page and two-factor authentication. You can do both of those, even though they might be controlled by different plugins. Some plugins will allow you to do both. Like I think WordFence allows you to do both of those in a single plugin, along with all the other security things they do. On my sites, Kim, I'm sorry. I don't think your site is gonna. Yeah, I think it kicked me out. And it might be blocking me. Or it's possible that clearing your cache is causing it not to load. I'll email you about this afterwards. We can see if we can get to the bottom of what happened with that. So Lori, what I use something free. I think it's all-in-one security. So it says WordPress security, but I believe, yeah, so it's all-in-one security. This is the one I use. It allows me to change my login URL, and then it also has two-factor authentication. And then you can set this up. The thing to be careful with this is that if you have other admins, you need to like either set a policy that everyone has to have two-factor authentication, or you need to email them and ask them to set it up. Because some of these plugins are like, it allows you to enable this, but it doesn't actually like force everyone to use it. And by everyone, of course, Lori, I mean like me. So you can just email me or whoever else has admin access to your site and say, hey, please set up two-factor authentication. You can see, I guess I don't have it on this particular site. And then I believe that you can see who has it set up. Yeah, so you'd be able to see here who has two-factor authentication set up on their site. So you could be like, Lauren, I asked you to set this up 2 days ago. You have not enabled this. Please get your shit together. Otherwise, some of these plugins, I don't know if this one does or doesn't, have a, like, it forces everyone to be in compliance. And so if they don't set up two-factor authentication, they get kicked out and you have to help them get back in. Yeah. So this is the one I use, all-in-one security. I think it's just because it's completely free, and WordFence, like, sometimes I really like low-tech stuff. And it's like, the design of it is very like 5+ years ago, and that just really works for me. Like, I don't want it to be too fancy sometimes. So that might be part of the reason I prefer this one over to WordFence. But I definitely have a good number of clients that use WordFence. Okay, yeah, you said I was battling the cat for position and hit purge. Yes. So if your site is having trouble when you are purging your cache, it could be something you can talk with your host about and see if they can help with that. Most often I've seen it when WP Rocket is set up to do preloading, and then it's just like not playing well with the server. So it could be that turning off preload is worth doing if that is related to what's happening here. Okay, so good news here is that we didn't mess up this template. We're going to click reset, hope for the best. Hope it resets. Beautiful, something's happening. Cool, so this archive title comes back. I'm just going to delete this logo here. This probably works. If you don't like it, we can change it. But I would definitely keep this here. Option, we can delete this global header after. You don't have to because it's empty, but we could. Yeah, and then we are missing those 2 synced patterns. They looked empty to me, so I think that's okay. But we can also re-add them if we need to. Let me see what I pasted most recently. Yeah, so here I had copied this whole group before I reset, just so I would have it, clicked paste, dragged in the content I wanted to keep, and now even though nothing shows up here for me, at least they're there so that if you edit them and re-add content, it'll work as expected. So I'm going to save this. It's going to save both the template that we edited and the default loop titles. I just removed that little icon that was like not your logo. You can always click reset on this if you want to bring that back and replace it with your icon. You would come into here, click edit, and then in this template part, you would go to reset. Okay, so then let me show you your categories now. I want to back out of here, close out of these extra things, and then pull up a category for you in a second. Okay, I don't have WP Rocket. Cloudflare hates me, and I just moved to a stack thing with InMotion for better speed. Okay, yeah, hosting is not my expertise. So a lot of that, like I don't know what the stack thing is, and I don't know why Cloudflare would hate us when we purge the cache. But InMotion could potentially help you with that. And then if you had ongoing problems, we have a couple hosts in Feature Fest that are doing deals right now as well. I'm not like an expert with hosting, and I don't know much about InMotion, so I will leave it at that to avoid getting in over my head. Categories, and then we're going to click on just any category to show that that title is back there. And then I think we'll be good. Yeah, so now we have a title back, we have that description. This would have been missing before, all of this like title content, and that's no bueno. So there is a possibility that you deleted this intentionally from like your WooCommerce pages or something like that, in which case you would just want to create a new template for whatever you need to do. And if that's the case, like you can email, and I will try and get back to you through email, or of course you can show up next Wednesday. We have these every Wednesday, and we can look at it then. All right, am I missing any questions, guys? I'm scrolling up through the chat to see. Laura didn't bring any questions for me this week. What's up with that? Cool. All right, so we still have some time. If you guys have any other questions, drop them in the chat. I'm here to hang out. Otherwise, let me Oh, what was the issue? Laura, what was the issue with the big purple thing on my, ooh, good point. Let's go to your homepage and look at that again because we did not fix it. So I'm going to fake an extra large screen, open up your homepage. Maybe, did I not click it? Homepage, open. It does not look like it's even trying to load it. Visit site. All right. Now we're going to fake this. Okay, let me even refresh this to make sure. Yeah, this is so weird. I have not seen this before. So let me see if I can fix it. I'm going to edit page in a new tab. Sorry if this is shaky, guys. I'm working on my laptop and I'm just sitting in a chair, so. No, I want to edit this page. This, goodness gracious, Lauren. Have to go back the opposite direction now. Okay, so I'm going to pull this up. As always, I'm using this document editor. Oh, maybe it's because it's in the synced pattern. Interesting. So let me edit the original. Content right with image left. It is set to wide. But it's like weirdly off to, maybe it's okay. I don't know what's happening just by looking at this. I'm going to reset a lot of things. So I'm going to reset the margin and padding. Just see where that gets us. And then it's set to wide width. I'm going to set it to full width. And then let me see, did the group have anything? The columns are also set to wide. I'm going to reset that to none. And then this should just be 50-50. So let me see what this looks like. I don't need to edit the home page. It's just the synced pattern. So we'll look at it here first on my like normal width. The padding's off, obviously, but like the spacing looks correct now. And then so if we look at it this wider width, it's correct now. I don't actually know what was happening. It must have been the weird addition, like maybe it was the nested wide or like the fact that it was wide but inside of a synced pattern. I haven't seen that before, but I think we're doing better now that we have it set to full width. What we could do still is we could have these columns set to wide. Up here, wide width, just to show you one at a time what this looks like. So this will get a little bit wider. Yep, so we can see this is wider here and here. It's quite a bit wider. I think maybe the wide width is changed somewhere in your settings. But it looks fine here. And then we can add padding. So back here, I removed the padding and I removed the margin changes. I'm going to re-add padding all the way around. I don't think we need to do anything with the margin unless you're wanting to decrease white space, in which case we could change the margin top. It probably is set to large or medium by default. We could go with small. Ooh, although I don't know if that'll work since it's in a synced pattern. But let's see. So what I'm expecting to happen is for there to be like more space at the top and bottom of this, and then less space above it. All right, success with the space here, top and bottom. I don't think the spacing above it, the margin did anything different. And I think that's because it's in a synced pattern. There's a spacer here. Okay, so it would have changed the margin top except for the fact that there was a spacer. And that spacer is on the home page. So this spacer here you could remove and you could just use the margin on this ebook if you preferred. The thing is that because you have this ebook as a synced pattern, there might be other places where you don't want it to look the way it does, or to like have margins. So there is a possibility that you're using this somewhere else and now it doesn't look the way you want it, in which case I think it's probably best to detach the version on the homepage. So first of all, let me undo this margin here. I'm going to click save on just this ebook and then go back to the homepage to show you if the change to this synced ebook looks right in other places, but we need to change it on this homepage. I would detach this instance of it so that it's no longer a synced pattern. It's just a regular block. It's a lot like what I was telling Lori earlier, where it's just like a pattern that's been inserted and so it's not connected to anything anymore. That's what I would do here if like the styling for the synced block doesn't kind of work on multiple pages. You might have to create two versions that are different. Even if you were to create two synced patterns and one was called like full width and the other one was called wide width. And then I did kind of want to check your wide width on your site. It really is fine if you have a wider width like this. I just wanted to make sure that it was intentional. Yeah, I think so. So this 1920 is probably set in global settings. And I don't think that's the size we have in the theme by default, but it works fine. And it looks good on even the smaller screens. Okay, let me find comments. Where did those go? I only have it on the homepage. Okay, perfect. So you don't even need it to be a synced pattern. You have it set up as a synced pattern, but you don't have to. You could detach this and then delete the synced pattern since you're not like reusing it anywhere. Totally up to you. Creator theme. I love this. Hint, hint. If Kim is okay with my borrowing her idea. I missed so many comments. I have to go up because I was like, what idea are we using? Go into my global header then and move my social icons below the menu. I think that would look good, especially if you did this like purple, this purple here, and then you had white icons on it. You could do it basically would end up being like a separator bar. It kind of would be like this. So you could do it in this light color as well if you prefer. But I like those separator bars and I like when there's like a thin one. And so I probably would do like a follow me on social little like paragraph and then the actual like icons next to it. Love the Amazon icon in the social header. Yeah, okay. So Lori, you could do that really easily, adding the Amazon icon in the social header because you are also using social block. So you would click on into that block and then you would click plus and be able to select a new icon to add and you can choose Amazon. Laura, I'm glad that you're watching the Future Fest videos and you're liking them. I have been really loving them. And like, I know I'm biased because I know these people and they're doing like a favor to help me out when I couldn't speak. But like, I find something I really love about every video. So I've been trying to like put that in my emails I send out of like, here's what I love about it. Couldn't figure out how to do the social separator. Need to get going. See you next week. Okay. Thin section of text, but I got so mad when I couldn't find it. Kim, if you will, how? Okay, here I was gonna be like, just email me and I'll work on it separately. But you know what? Kim and Lori, and anyone else who wants to say stay, but I know we have some lurkers and everyone welcome to leave at this point. I will stay on an extra 10 minutes and try and answer these questions real quick because I feel like it's just so much easier to do it now than to add emails. So Laura, thank you for joining. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you next week and I'm looking forward to it. Kim and Lori, if you guys have a couple extra minutes, you can stay on and I'll try and answer both of your questions. If you don't, I will answer them and you can come back and rewatch this. So, Lori, you're going to have to watch what I do with Kim's, but it's going to be the same. So, starting again, I'm going to close this. Starting again, just looking at your site, you're going to go to Edit Site. And then to add in or change any of your social icons, we're going to open up the document overview, which is going to be somewhere around here once it loads. And we're going to look for the social icon block and we'll add icons into that. So once we're in the edit site, that's going to take us into the site editor. We'll be able to see our header and footer, which we can't normally see if we're just like editing a page. And then inside of this document overview, you can find it in here if you like click into things, but you also can just like click on it. And if you keep like sometimes if you noticed when it has a purple outline and I try and click on something, it doesn't always go straight into what I want. It goes into the first purple item. And then I might have to click multiple times. Because Kim has hers as a synced pattern, we have to click on edit original. But Lori, you probably don't have yours as a synced pattern, so you'd be able to do it directly from this page. So you would click in here, and then you should see a plus icon like this. If you don't, go into your list view and click on social icons, and that'll force this plus icon to show up. And then from here, you can click plus, and then this one shows up right here immediately. But if it doesn't, they have so many icons. You'll just type in Amazon. And it'll be grayed out like this until you add a link. If you already have an icon that you need to change out, you would just click on it and it'll pop up the link and you'll change that out here. So this one, I'm going to go in and go ahead and just delete that since Lori already has it. Sorry, Kim. But Kim, let's play with yours. So here's what I want to do. I'm not going to save this. I'm going to go to this edit page and I'm going to change this to a different layout real quick because I want this to be throughout your site by default. And your homepage is using a different template than the rest of your site. And so what I'm going to do is here inside of your homepage for template, I think I'm just going to have this go back to the default template. No, I'm sorry. The default template would still show the page title. So I am going to select landing, no page title. But what simple header and simple footer does is it removes like extra content from the header or extra content from the footer. And I want to keep that in this page. So I'm going to go with landing, no page title. Save this. And then just to show you, this is why I keep having to close tabs. I cannot keep track of them. When this is loaded, it looks exactly the same because there's no content in the like after header block. But we're going to put some in there. Don't worry. So we've already done everything we needed to do the homepage. We just changed the template. In order to move the social icons, now that I'm clicking edit site and the homepage has a new template assigned to it, we're going to see a different template that gets loaded when we're clicking on this edit site. It's going to load the like landing no page title. And we should see that in a purple bar up here. Beautiful. Landing no page title. We'll let this load. It now has this extra block right here. That block exists inside of the global header after. Nothing's in it, so we can't see it on the front end right now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these social icons into it. So again, we'll change this in a second, but I just want to save this. So we're saving both of these template parts. The header had the social icons removed. The header after had them added. Save that. And then you can see that it's gotten moved down. It doesn't have any style difference, and I do want to add that. So here in global header after, Kim, since you said that you don't have a purpose for syncing these social icons, I'm going to detach this just because it's easier to edit it all in one screen, in my opinion. So I'm going to click detach. That means that these social icons, you have them saved as a synced pattern. You can delete that synced pattern now if you're not using it anywhere else. But here we have this. I'm going to put them in a group because like before, groups make it possible to have like full width with your content limited. And so this group, this is so inconvenient. I need to submit a bug report for this. I'm going to do something a little hacky. Hold. Disregard. I'm not going to do anything hacky. We're going to see what happens. I'm going to give it the dark purple background because I like that. I'm going to give it some padding all around, smaller padding, and then the icons can't be seen right now. I'm going to go in. I just have like selected the parent social icons, change these to white, click save. And then now you can see it. It's really big. I'm going to make it smaller. And then now that I see it with the search, I feel like it's kind of competing. I still kind of like it though. Let's leave it for now. This group, I'm going to make the padding smaller. Maybe that for now. And then I want there to be text here. And this, I think you said, Kim, you were getting a little annoyed with this. That's because you're trying to do stuff that like isn't part of this and you're not a block expert yet, but you're going to be a block expert. And soon you're going to be like telling other people how they can do things on their site. I'm going to add a paragraph. Follow me on social. I'm going to move it before my social icons. And then I want this to all be in a row. So I'm going to select both of these and put them in a row. Then, and I saw you did this in some other places, so you probably know how to do this. I'm going to center it. I'm going to make sure this text is white. I'm probably going to decrease the block spacing here just a little. Actually, maybe I'll do that for the social icons as well. And then let's click save and see what that looks like. I kind of like it. I like the bold color, but if the color is too bold, what I think we could do is on this group, I'm going to remove the colors that we've set here. And instead, what we could do is like a top bottom border. Sorry, let me just separate those and then just do a top border and a bottom border. Maybe in this color. Then we need to make our social icons visible again. I think I'm going to decrease the space on here again. I don't like this as much. I like it bold. Let's see. So now that's how I can join them. Yes, exactly. Cool. So Lori has Amazon added. Kim, I'm going to change it back because I like the bold purple better. I don't know if you do, but I'm just going to click Control Z. And then, like I mentioned, I want to decrease the space a little more. The top bottom space, I want that bar to be a little thinner. I like this. You could even add like a button that says like subscribe. So we could do like button, subscribe. I'm not going to save this one just because I don't know where this one would link, but I probably would do like a text link that's white. Maybe like that with an arrow. Got to make this white again. I don't know. Could do something like that. You could still have it have a like a border or something if we wanted. 1 pixel white with like a tiny bit of padding. I don't know. Something like that. Would play with that. Yeah, you like the bold better. Me too. Okay, I'm not saving that subscribe button, but can easily add a button in there. Just refreshing to make sure you know what's done here. Kim, if I've saved anything on your site that makes you panic a little bit, email me. I will fix it. Don't panic about anything, please. Hopefully it's been fun. We're definitely over time. I want to be respectful of your time and let you guys go. But also, this is very fun for me. So thank you for coming with questions and for like, Kim, so impressed with you tackling this and like crushing it. Like, it looks so good. You did great. Coming in here and fixing up a few things here and there, fun for me. But like, I think I could open up my email. I don't know where it is right now, so I won't. But like, you sent an email and my like comment, my internal comment on it was like obsessed. So very impressed. Love, 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 love seeing your product. So, okay, guys, I will see you guys next week unless I can convince Hannah to like do some impromptu sort of live with me. That'd be fun. I only did one of the questions that I said I was going to answer, but we had so much fun doing all of these other items. And I feel like answering those questions would be more fun with Hannah anyway. So I'll totally grill her on those on the next live. Lori, I'm glad you love coming to these. I love hosting them. And I love when you guys chat with me. I saw a bunch of people lurking and they didn't say hi. That's okay though. I love the lurkers too. All right, everyone, have a fabulous Wednesday. And I will see you guys in Feature Fest if you are part of it. And I will definitely see you guys next Wednesday as well. All right, bye, guys.